10 a.m. in New York City, where the jury has reconvened in the criminal trial of former President Donald Trump. He's in the courtroom now as Judge Juan Merchan is expected to reread at least some of his 55 pages of jury instructions. Jurors are not allowed to take those instructions into the deliberation room. Jurors have also requested readbacks of several portions of testimony. So our Errol Barnett is standing outside of the courthouse with the latest. Errol, there was another jury note this morning. What's that about?
That's right. Good morning, Anne-Marie and Vlad. Well, we're getting clarity on the jury's notes from yesterday. Now that they are back in the courtroom, the judge is back, all parties are back. We're finding out what part of the judge's instructions they want read back to them. And one key excerpt from those instructions speaks about making an inference. They wanted to know what the guidance from the judge was when it came to making inferences drawn from facts. And I remember this from yesterday. The judge had an analogy in describing what they should do as it relates to when you think it rained outside. I'll just read you a portion of what the judge instructed the jury. He says, to draw an inference means to infer, find, conclude that a fact exists or does not exist based on proof of some other fact or facts. He says, for example, let's say you go to bed one night when it's not raining and you wake up in the morning, you look out your window, you don't see rain, but you see the street and sidewalk are wet and that people are wearing raincoats and carrying umbrellas. Under those circumstances, it may be reasonable to infer, that is, conclude, that it rained during the night. In other words, the fact that of it having rained while you were asleep is an inference that might be drawn from the proven facts of the presence of water on the street and the sidewalk and people in raincoats and carrying umbrellas. Why is that relevant to the evidence and the testimony? Because as we've been discussing, Michael Cohen was really a star witness in the glue between the Trump scheme and the repayments, and Cohen himself is, as the judge instructed, an accomplice in this crime, and so they cannot convict based on Michael Cohen's testimony alone unless it is corroborated by other evidence. And so the jury is trying to determine what is that evidence that is corroborating Michael Cohen's testimony and what inferences can they make based on available facts. So that gives you a sense of the jurors' thinking during those 4 hours of deliberation yesterday. And now this morning, as we're getting the details, we're learning more about what specific questions they had. Next, they will be reread portions of testimony they've requested to hear. And all of that relates to the original Trump Tower meeting in August of 2015, where Trump, Cohen, and Pecker came up with the scheme. And it relates to conversations between Trump and Pecker, I believe Trump and Cohen, as it relates to making those payments. So the jury is looking for the evidence they would need in order to convict Donald Trump guilty on all counts, because they would not need to only believe that he falsified business records, but to make this a felony, to return a guilty verdict on all counts, they would need to believe that the checks were falsified in the furtherance of another crime.
All right, so Donald Trump is facing 34 charges. What are the possible outcomes that we could see from the jury? I know it seems like a really basic question, but can we go through that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because for the prosecution, they want a slam dunk. They want all 12 jurors to agree, and agree quickly, we're still within the first 24 hours of deliberations, that Donald Trump is guilty on all counts. If that happens, we then wait another 30 to 60 days before Judge Merchan will institute a sentence. It's expected that Team Trump would appeal. They would kick, scream, and fight. Trump also is someone who is a former president, does not have a criminal background, and is elderly, likely wouldn't serve prison time, and can ask that any sentence be delayed. So that's if we get an all guilty verdict. But perhaps the jury isn't convinced by Michael Cohen, isn't convinced by the evidence, and perhaps they all agree that Donald Trump is not guilty. That would be a slam dunk for Trump and the defense, and that would mean they would come back with a not guilty verdict. He walks scot-free from this criminal trial. But there is a middle ground that's likely more possible in which perhaps one juror or two aren't convinced that he's guilty on all counts, in which case they would continue to deliberate today and tomorrow. The judge, by the end of the week, would say, are you close? If I give you a few more hours, do you think you would be able to get to a conclusion? The judge is trying to maintain the integrity of this 6 weeks trial and would do everything within his power to say, okay, go back and try again. Because if they don't get a unanimous verdict, you get a hung jury, which can lead to a mistrial, and all efforts are for naught, at least for the prosecution. So those are kind of the three possibilities from what this jury is deliberating. But in practice, when a jury comes back quickly with decisions and when they ask for evidence and they're able to see things, it's usually not good for the defense. It means the prosecution really made its case. And so this is just part of that process. Happens every day all over the country. But of course, in a historic case like this, we're watching every single development.
And so just remind our viewers, Errol, what instructions the judge gave the jury for them to find Donald Trump guilty.
Yes, well, he started by giving them just the foundational principles. That's, you presume that Trump is innocent. He also said, divorce all of your personal opinions and bias for or against Trump as you decide this case. The burden of proof is on the prosecution, and that's why the jury is paying such close attention to proven fact and testimony. And he also said that in order to convict, they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Trump is guilty. And so each of those, that's the foundation for the jury to then understand that it's not just the checks, it's not just the transcripts of text messages, it's the testimony, and it's also the corroboration of testimony between Cohen, Pecker, and other witnesses that the jury has heard. And on top of all of that, it's their common sense. It's reasonable doubt. Vlad, what's reasonable to you may not be reasonable to Anne-Marie, may not be reasonable to me, but a jury is constructed around the theory that 12 of Donald Trump's peers can be reasonable when looking at the evidence, the testimony, and what each of us would expect to be a normal circumstance as far as whether Donald Trump did or did not mastermind this scheme to mislead the voters and inaccurately pay back Michael Cohen. So that's the kind of the lanes and the barriers that the jury has been given, and we're still within the first 24 hours of their deliberation. Well, really 4 hours yesterday, and I think they're going to get to deliberating as soon as they've heard the transcripts that they've requested this morning.
All right, Errol Barnett for us outside of the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, where we are are we saying day 2 or is it day 1 of jury deliberations?
Day
two, right?
Yeah.
Because they started yesterday.
They did 4.5 hours.
Yeah, yesterday, and like we're in day 2. All right, Errol, stay on your feet, my brother, because we're going to be checking with you all morning long. Could be for the next couple hours. It could be for the next 2 weeks. Thanks very much.
I know. You got it.